They loaded him with antibiotics, but by late afternoon, they had to go back in and not only find the bleeder, but clear out some of the infection. There was a tube extending out of Tyler's abdomen, and the need for a medically induced coma was increasing. I didn't leave his side. Dodge wouldn't want his son alone, and I didn't want him to be alone either. By the following morning, his fever had dropped, and by dinner time he was declared out of the woods, and I was instructed to go get some rest. What surprised me was the fact that I still hadn't met Dr. Lewis. Barry Chatham had stopped in, merely to check on Tyler and me. He told me his concern was for me to be in a controlled and protected environment, and that when things calmed down, he would speak to me about what they needed. I accepted that and decided to go back to my apartment. They promised they would get me if needed. No one really spoke to me. I just stayed in that room. When I did walk outside, it seemed as if all activity stopped. The men and boys just stared at me. Despite my new surroundings, I still expected to see Dodge at any moment. Farmer told me he was probably just coming to up north, and since he was traveling with Bud and the boys, to give them a good week to get to me, maybe even 10 days. They were on my mind constantly. It was almost exactly 4 months since I'd met Dodge, and I'd spent almost every single day with him and the boys, along with Bud. Now I was pushing the 3rd night without them, and I was lost. I missed my nighttime hugs from Derry. He'd curl up on my lap until he was just about to go to sleep, and then after catching himself, he'd race to Dodge to put him to bed. I missed listening to George reading to Dodge with impressive skill. He did that every night. Whatever he could find, he'd read. Dodge would listen and comment, and George would even quiz him to make sure he was paying attention. Dodge always did. Life at my house with them and Bud was like a prepping meets camping trip. It was easy, relaxed, and even though we'd led a colonial-style life, it had a sense of normalcy. Even with my air conditioning, hot water, and modern conveniences, which were lost for 99% of the world, I wanted to go back to the simplicity and to the people that had become no less than a family to me. After a shower, I ate some sort of stew from a can, grabbed the bottle and glass, and decided it was such a warm night I'd sit out. The room had patio doors at the back leading onto a balcony. There were 2 chairs, the lounge kind, and a table between them. I lit a candle and enjoyed my drink. It gave me a sense of comfort because it was part of my nightly routine. Every night, no matter what, after the boys were down, Dodge and I sat on my deck. It was our thing. There was only one night that we hadn't done so, and that was when Derry had caught a stomach bug. Dodge and I had taken turns with Derry as he hovered over a bucket. It was hard to believe that 7 months had passed since my family had died. I had wanted to die. Never would I have believed that it would take a dead world to bring me back to life. Not a day went by that I didn't think of my husband, my daughter, and son. But no longer did I think of them with an abundance of sadness. I'd started to reach the point where I remembered the fun times, the happiness they'd given me. In the midst of my thoughts, I heard a door slide open. I shared the balcony with the apartment next to mine. Only a railing separated us. I glanced over to see James. He held a glass and bottle as he stepped out. He looked surprised to see me. "I'm sorry," he said. "If you want privacy out here, I can go back in." "No, please. That's fine. Enjoy your drink." He nodded and sat down on a chair. "I hear Tyler is doing better?" "Yes, they expect to see him really improve over the next couple days." "How are you doing?" I shrugged. Worried about Tyler. Can't stop thinking about Derry and George. Bud, too. And Dodge. I am so worried about him. "He's a tough guy," James said.